Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to this webinar. This is Carolina Turcato from SPI, and I'm here with my colleague Francisco Rocha.
Hello everyone, good afternoon.
And today we will be speaking about this project called INNOWWIDE, which my colleague will explain to you. His presentation will be around 30 minutes, and after that we will open for questions. I mean, you can always type your questions while he's doing his presentation, but he will be answering all the questions as soon as he finished his presentation. And just to start, as this webinar is organized by Enriching Brazil project, I will just take 5 minutes, around 5 minutes, to briefly present Enriching Brazil to you. So, Enrich in Brazil is the European network of research and innovation centers and hubs in Brazil. This network started with 3 European funded projects of the Horizon 2020 program, and these 3 projects, the idea is to create 3 centers that will represent European science, technology and innovation organizations in the United States, in Brazil, and in China. So we have these 3 centers and this broad network that is the Enrich Global Network, which involves the 3 countries and the links to Europe. So specifically, Enriching Brazil is a project and now a physical center that I will explain to you, that is composed by 12 partners. It's a partnership including 4 Brazilian partners, CONFAP, CNI, AMPEI, and Unicamp, and 8 European partners from universities, research, consultancy, different typologies of organizations. So having that said, the main idea of Enriching Brazil is to be the focal point and to facilitate the cooperation, the international cooperation between Europe and Brazil in terms of science, technology and innovation. And we aim at supporting all the actors of the innovation chain, from the basic research to the market, to the business organizations, startups, SMEs. And our idea is really to be the main contact point to support and facilitate the internationalization and international cooperation of these organizations. So how Enriching Brazil works, we have 3 main pillars, which are our services that we provide, the main structure of the center that I will also present to you, and we have a community, which is also an interesting opportunity for you to get involved and engaged in the center. So this is, as I mentioned, an youth project, but this project will end in the end of 2020. So after that, we have also the mission to create this physical center in Brazil, and to have this self-sustainable center. So what we have done until the moment is that in November 2017, we have inaugurated the headquarters of the center in Brasilia, in the capital of Brazil, and we have and the office is located at CNI building in Brasilia. And we also have launched in April 2018 a focal point in Europe, in Brussels, at EBN's headquarters, one of our partners. And the idea here is to have these focal points, these offices, to support and facilitate the activities and the services that we provide. And also the idea is to have other 2 offices in Brazil in the coming years, in Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo. And in around April in this year, we will establish the center as an association. We will really create this legal entity in Brazil, and then we will be already starting this process of being an independent center and to match with the end of the European funded project. So our service portfolio, which is called our the Enriching Brazil experience, is the idea is that we have a series of services to provide to all the actors of the innovation value chain that I mentioned in the beginning, that starts with basic information that are free and you can download on our website. Like guidelines of doing business in Brazil, doing business in Europe, studies, market studies, research, and this information is, as I mentioned, free, and you can download in our website. We are constantly uploading this section there, so we recommend that you take a look. And then we have all the next steps when it comes to internationalization and international cooperation, which are other types of services like business roundtables, matchmaking and events. We also support partners in finding funding in both Europe and Brazil. We also have these soft landing hubs in Brazil and in Europe in the near future that will also support entrepreneurs and SMEs to internationalize to both Brazil and Europe in this case, and we provide all the support and soft landing. And we also have services such as business development, targeted consultancy services, marketing services. These are more on-demand based services. And finally, we have also, we can support you on legal advice, IPR advice, and other types of services. So to summarize also our community approach, we have 2 main entrance points in this approach. The first one is as associates, which means that these partners will be associated to the legal entity, the association in Brazil, and is a more exclusive type of association. And we also have the partners that are basically service providers, SMEs, science parks, universities, and many other types of actors that are willing to join our network and to profit from the benefits that are involved with being a partner, which I can tell you, like to have more expertise, visibility, networking, facilitation, exclusivity in reaching European partners, and being updated in the most recent opportunities of cooperation. And then we have these soft landing hubs that we have until now, Porto Digital and São José dos Campos Science Park, which are organizations in Brazil that will support European organizations to go to Brazil. Finally, we have many services planned for 2019, and I recommend that you stay in touch with and you stay tuned to our website. You have here all the contacts and social networks that will be constantly uploading these upcoming services. Yep, that's it for Enriching Brazil. Thank you very much, and now I pass the word to Francisco to talk about INNOWWIDE. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina, and thank you for the very good presentation and introduction. Actually, before starting, I have to say that this is actually the first webinar that we are organizing under the INNOWWIDE project, which is a very new Horizon 2020 project. And so it is very good that we can present what we are doing through the Enrich network, and specifically to interested parties in Brazil, which, as you will see from my presentation, is also one of the targets among many other countries that this project is focusing on. So you have there my name, Francisco. You have also my contact email in case you are interested in getting to know more about the project after this presentation, or if you have any other question regarding the project or any related issue, you can contact me directly through that email address. So for this presentation, what I have prepared for you today is a brief overview of what the INNOWWIDE project does, what we are offering at this moment to potential applicants, and how you can get involved. So moving from an Horizon 2020 project, which is this one, that started in January this year. The goal of this project is to develop or to promote a series of open funding calls that we are calling viability assessment projects that provide funding to at least 120 European innovative SMEs and startups to develop innovation actions in markets outside Europe. So this is, as you can see, a very ambitious goal, and we are, SPI, as one of the partners that is implementing this project, very proud to be part of this team, because we have a very concrete objective, as you can see. So if we look at, as a whole, what this project is looking for, we want first to design 2 open funding calls that will be open to European companies and provide them funding so that they can then conduct these viability assessment projects that we are calling these VAPs, as you can see from the slide. Through this funding that we will provide under the development of the project, we will then be able to understand what was the impact that these VAPs, these projects, had in terms of innovation, in terms of developing the capacity of the companies to internationalize to other markets outside Europe. And so we can understand what is the concrete impact of this initiative. To do that, we will promote, as I said, this is just the first webinar that we are organizing under the project, but during these coming months, the project INNOWWIDE will organize a series of dissemination and communication activities, which includes webinars, includes events in several countries within Europe. And so we will have a strong mobilization of different stakeholders to promote this call and make sure that we have a lot of applications for this call. As a more strategic objective, we will then use all the information that we gathered from number of applications that we have, countries with a more specific focus, types and of sectors where the companies implemented this project, and we will be able to draft some policy conclusions that will then be useful for the European Commission, who is the promoter of this project, is the funding agency that is supporting this project, to design the strategy for future initiatives and future funding for companies. So as you can see, this is somewhat a very ambitious objective, but as well with a strong impact on the daily activities of SMEs and startups all over Europe. So for this presentation, I will give you the first introduction of what we are doing, what are these viability assessment projects, how you can, if you are interested, of course, how you can apply to them, and what are the activities that we will develop in the next years. So starting with the introduction, you can see that the team that is implementing this initiative is composed by 11 partners from 8 different European countries. We have different types of institutions, a lot of national funding agencies, which is actually a very good, brings a very good added value to the project, because they are experienced in promoting these types of initiatives and these types of funding opportunities to institutions within their national ecosystems, which provides us a good basis for implementing this project. We have international business acceleration networks to promote and to involve different stakeholders throughout the project. We have multilateral organizations on research and innovation. We have business consultancy companies and an innovation public-private partnership organization to support us on this. The project, as you know, as you might see from the logos, is coordinated by CDTI from Spain in Madrid, and has this series of partners. As you can see, partners with great experience and very well known in different types of sectors and ecosystems. To highlight also the involvement of Eureka, which is the innovation network, who is responsible for supporting the implementation of these calls. So they are the ones that are managing the VAP submission system on the behind, but you will see from the next slides. So talking about what are these VAP calls and when and where we are offering them. So as I mentioned, INNOWWIDE aims to develop a set of 2 VAP calls that have a total budget of 7.2 million euros. We aim basically to fund 120 projects, which we have an amount of 60,000 euros per project during the course of the project. We will have these calls and this project, as I told you, are focusing on the capacity of European companies to internationalize to other markets outside Europe. So in order to apply to these VAP calls, the partner that is doing the application must have a cooperation with the local stakeholder in the target countries. You will see, as I explain in further slides, what I really mean by this. But as you can see, there needs to be a target country, a target market, either on developing countries or in large emerging economies as Brazil, Russia, India, China, or already developed countries. So one of these regions must be targeted for the application and for the VAP projects. So what is a VAP? I've talked about viability assessment projects that have a funding of 60,000 euros from the INNOWWIDE project. But what is this really about? So basically, VAPs are a preliminary technical, market, legal, and socio-economic assessment that aims to validate what is the viability of going international, of innovating your business at the international level. So we could say that this is the first step of your analysis for understanding how you can cooperate and how you can develop innovative activities in a specific market outside Europe. So this is basically what we are calling the viability assessment projects. It has several types of activities within these projects, and that can be perceived in your application in case you are interested. So, what are the main aspects that a VAP should cover? You have there a set of 6 points that are summarizing what each VAP should have in order to be eligible. So first, as I told you, each project and each application should perceive a partnership with a local partner. This local partner in the specific market, let's say, for example, Brazil, there is a company in Europe that aims to develop the viability assessment project with Brazil, needs to find a Brazilian local institution that can be involved in the application as a subcontractor. This can be a supplier, as a customer, consultant, legal advisor, etc. But it needs to be from the specific country where the VAP is going to be applied. Okay. It should, second point, besides all the technical studies, it should also explore the commercial viability of the solution. So it should be an initial analysis of how the innovation can be internationalized or passed through the local market, but should also already perceive a practical and commercial viability on how it meets the local conditions and demands of the specific country. So it should already have in mind these types of actions. The project itself should last for 6 months, and it should be a starting point. So the application should highlight that this is an initial stage for a future potential cooperation, for having a first step on a series of actions that will be made in the future for developing cooperation in that country. As I mentioned, the total grant that the viability assessment project will provide is of 60,000 euros. This means that these 60,000 euros should represent 70%, at least a maximum of 17% of the total eligible cost. So at the minimum, the eligible cost of the project should be of 86,000 euros. And from those 86,000 euros, 60,000 will be funded by INNOWWIDE. The viability assessment project should be carried out by an SME that is established and legally established in a European member state or in an Horizon 2020 associated country, and should have, as I mentioned, a local entity that is thus subcontracted to support in the development of the project. So, who can apply to this? As I mentioned, we are including SMEs. This includes young companies, startups from any sector. So basically, we are aiming at the overall small, medium, and enterprise ecosystem. Of course, the company or the entity that applies to the VAP call needs to be an enterprise, and it needs to be engaged in an economic activity. As well, as I mentioned, it needs to be established legally in an European member state or in an Horizon 2020 associated country. You can check online as well for what is the list of Horizon 2020 associated countries in case there is an interest of having a company that is applying from there. And in terms of the calls, just for you to know as well, we have launched the official website, which I will give it to you at the end of the presentation, and I will show you as well some of the features of the website if we have time. It was launched at the end of February, and now we are launching the first VAP call on April 2019. As I said, there's going to be 2 calls. One of them is going to be open on April, and the second one should be launched and opened in December. Okay. For the first call, this call will be open for a period of 2 months, so April and May. Until the 31st of May, the first VAP call for funding is open on our project website. So this is of great interest to us. So 1st of April, as you can see, we have our first INNOWWIDE call that will be open in the project website. I will show you later on where you can find further information on that. Just to check the timeline, as I mentioned, we are opening the call on April 1st, and then we have the final deadline for May 31st at 12 p.m. CAT. We have the results after the evaluation should be done more or less at the end of September, hopefully. And then we will have the project implementation, also hopefully at the end of 2019 or beginning of 2020. How to apply? So you can go to the INNOWWIDE website, and there is an option on apply for funding under the VAP application guidelines. There you can find, you will be redirected to another platform, which is the submission platform that is held by one of the project partners. You can complete the registration, follow the instructions, and complete every section online and submit your applications, as you can see, until the 31st of May, 12 CAT. You will be contacted then, more or less at the beginning of October, end of September, on the results of your application. You can see here the website, as I mentioned. You can see where you can find further opportunities on the funding, as you can see there. Sorry. On the funding opportunities, you can then go to VAP application and guidelines option. And there, on application, you can then go to the website and the link where you can submit your application. I will show you this when I show you the website from my computer, and you can see it more clearly. In terms of funding conditions, this is an important point, and we have been receiving questions on this, a lot of questions on this. You can, of course, as Carolina mentioned, post your questions during the presentation, and then afterwards, after I finish the presentation, we can have some minutes to answer all the doubts that you might have on this regard. So, in terms of funding conditions, INNOWWIDE basically provides funding of 60,000 euros, which should represent up to 70% of a minimum of 86,000. So if you want to apply, you need to have a project of at least 86,000 euros of eligible expenses, and from those 86, 60 will be funded under the project. In terms of the payment, there will be basically two payments, 50% at the beginning, 30,000 euros, and then the other 50 at the end of the project when, but then you can see more specifically in the VAP guidelines on what there needs to be done for complying with the rules of the VAP. You will need to deliver a final report, and after this is delivered and evaluated, you will then receive the other 50% of funding. Of course, during the submission, there are several actions that should be developed. It's not only the proposal. You should be able to provide several documents that are then further explained during the application process and in the VAP guidelines that are available in the project website. You can check more information on that in terms of SME verification, declaration on honors, etc. So there are several administrative documents that need to be submitted together with the technical application. So what are the activities that we fund? This is important as it includes the actions that we are actually funding. What can we offer, and what could be the projects about, the VAP projects about. So you can see that basically from this slide, I am presenting some of the combination of activities that could be, in case you are interested, part of your VAP project. The first set of activities relates to the co-creation and technology uptake facilitation. You can see there several actions that could be perceived in your VAP. Either it is technology evaluation, analyzing the IP environment, understanding what is the technology legal situation, what is, if you want to have a small scale proof of concept. So all of these actions are perceived under a VAP project. Of course, under this first element of this first section of co-creation. It is important, and I will say to you maybe in the next slide, to say that there are some criteria and some rules that need to be followed when developing the VAPs. In terms of the actions and the activities that should be perceived, there are a set of rules in terms of the number of activities that each proposal should include. So regarding this section 1, the co-creation and technology uptake, the VAP should at least have 4 elements from these 8 that are listed here, as you can see from A to H, should have at least 4 elements of this first section in the VAP call. So this is one of the criteria for application. If you look at the second set of criteria, which is the market prospection, you have there maybe more economic related actions, such as the pestle analysis, when you look at the market research, analyzing potential suppliers, analyzing potential partners, having a first survey to understand what could be the business opportunities of your company in a specific market. So there are a large set of actions that you can see from this section 2.1 market research. From this, at least 4 activities from these 8 should be part of your viability assessment project. In terms of section 2.2, which is related with the compliance verification, you can see here administrative and due diligence verification, social and cultural best practices. So from this, one of these elements should be selected to be part of the VAP. In terms of the section 2.3 and 2.4, these are optionals, but in case you perceive any activity within these sections, you should justify why to the VAP evaluator. But these are some of the types of actions that could also be included in your project, in case you are interested in doing so. Now, if you look besides the activities to the geographical coverage, as you can see, this is a large list of countries. But as I mentioned, this is mandatory. The objective, the main objective, the basis of the project is to promote innovation at the international level. So there needs to be a country of focus, first aspect. And the second aspect is that you should have a subcontractor in that country of focus. So it is very important to understand where there is eligibility from these countries. As you can see, we have a first group of developed countries, which includes the US, Canada, Japan, Korea, etc. Then we have a second group of large emerging countries where we have Brazil, as you can see, and then a large set of developing countries where the VAPs could be implemented. So basically, we cover a lot of countries, almost all the countries that we can have here, and this is assured also by support from our network of partners that have contacts in these different countries, and that could be of support also to you in case you are interested in implementing a VAP action, to support to you in a specific country, of these from the list, of course. In terms of the evaluation, we'll have, this is similar also to evaluations that are done at the European Commission level. Either you talk about Horizon 2020, if you are aware of this program, or you talk about the SME instrument that is also available under the European Commission funding. You can see that the evaluations of the applications are evaluated according to 3 criteria on impact, excellence, and quality of the implementation. You have there the percentage of weight and in each of these subsections. As I mentioned also, there are other requirements, of course, and I mentioned it before. There should be a lot or much information that is provided by the applicant when developing the VAP calls. First, just for you to know, the applications should be in English, regardless of the country that we are implementing the VAP. And besides the project proposal, which has several sections and are, as you can see here, it is divided on different types of sections. You should have also financial information prepared, ethics information, legal information as well, SMEs, declarations. So this is all, of course, explained in our guides, but it is important to give you this information so that you are aware of what is necessary, as the call is currently opening in a couple of days. So you might be interested eventually in applying to one of these projects. It is relevant to point this out. Now that we finished, this was the section on VAP calls. And now that we finished, I thought it was important as well to show you other opportunities that we have under the INNOWWIDE, of course, related with these VAP calls. So besides applications from companies and organizations that want to have funding from these, from the INNOWWIDE project to implement the VAPs, we have also opportunities for experts. So in case you are interested in becoming one of the experts of INNOWWIDE, the experts, of course, will be our evaluators and will help us to evaluate the calls that we receive. You can do this through the project website. Basically, we want people that have relevant expertise in different areas related with science, technology, and innovation, and also with areas related with internationalization, market research, and access to new markets through Europe. So who can become an expert? All individuals with at least 5 years of experience, either in the co-creation and technology uptake facilitation, or in market prospection and research experience. So in case maybe you are not interested in being involved and do an application for a VAP, but you might have interest in becoming an expert and helping and working together with us to help us to evaluate the applications that we receive. Of course, there is the INNOWWIDE project, of course, that compensates the experts, but this is then negotiated afterwards. You can see in the calendar, we will have a first stage of evaluation that will go from the 10th of June until the 28th of June, 2019. And then we will have a second stage between the 1st of July and 19th of July. Should have a total duration more or less of 7 weeks, the total evaluation process. You see there the application where you can see you can do the application through our project website. These application opportunities are currently open. So if you want or are interested, you can check in the project website how you can become an expert. And the evaluation will basically have 2 stages. The first is that we'll have 2 experts evaluating one proposal. And then in case there are proposals with an equal score, we'll have a review panel of 2 additional experts, which will basically determine the final position of those applications. So we'll have 2 experts per application evaluating. Besides this, it is important to understand what we are doing to support, because what we saw was that there is a high interest at the European level from SMEs in doing the application for these VAP calls, but sometimes we saw that they are interested, these SMEs are interested in a specific market, but they do not have any contacts on that market. And as you saw, it is one of the requirements that you should have a subcontracting organization in the target market in order to be able to be eligible to apply to the VAP call. So what we did is that we built an INNOWWIDE matchmaking tool that is available in our project website that basically helps European companies in trying to find potential local partners to cooperate in the VAP development. You can see it on the project website as well. After you enter that part of the website, you should fill in a form with a set of matchmaking options that you should fill in, and then the INNOWWIDE team will receive it and will try to find a potential interesting local partner for you in the target market that you are interested in. We also have, besides these sessions that we are promoting with the webinars, and of course, as I mentioned, you can put on your questions in case you have them. We have also, besides that, an online help desk that is available through our website, and you can ask anything you want related with the VAP applications or the experts applications. We will reply to you hopefully in some few days time, 5 working days more or less, and we will give you a reply in case you have any doubts or specific information you would like to share with us. So that will be also relevant for us in case you have any specific question. In terms of events, as I mentioned, we are organizing a set of webinars, and then we will organize also specific info days in European countries and also in other target countries, in case there is an interest from the internet, from the market community, and from the country community in having these events. And we will basically have a set of promotional and communication activities of these VAP calls. So in case you have any interest, of course, come to us. I leave you now with our last slide. You can see there the information on our official email address, INNOWWIDE, info@innowwide.eu. You can also see our website, www.innowwide.eu, and my email address in case you have any specific question that you want to put to me. We invite you also to follow us on social media, of course, Facebook, Twitter, INNOWWIDE, and it would be great if you can count with your participation and your interest on this. So before moving to the questions, I will just show you, as I promised before, some information on the project website. So you can see here the INNOWWIDE website, as I showed you before. In case you are interested in any of the funding opportunities that we have, you can see here on the funding opportunities, either for the VAP application and guidelines, and this sub-page includes all the things that we have related with the VAP application, and in the experts, all that is related, of course, with the experts application that now you can do it. Just to show you quickly, on the VAP applications and guidelines, you have here all the information that I shared to you in this presentation, and maybe some further details on the funding conditions, the calendars. You can see here on the documents, this is very important, you can download the VAP call text and the guidelines, which includes much further information. And in case you want to do an application for the VAPs, you cannot, because it, as I told you, only opens on the 1st of April. You can then apply to the VAP starting on the 1st of April. In case you are an expert and you would be interested in becoming an expert, you can see here, you have further documents on the experts call text. You can check this out with further information on how you can apply, and then you can, through this button, become an expert and provide your application, of course. So now I will open the floor for questions. I will try to answer all of them. So maybe the first one, what Brazilian institutions, startups, hospitals, universities, or non-profit institutions are eligible to be partners in an INNOWWIDE project? I believe that this question is quite open, because we are not, in terms of the subcontractor, and we are talking about Brazilian institutions, it is very open. It depends on what the project is about. We can talk about, for example, a consultancy company that is a legal advisor of the European SME that can help them in the project. We can talk about, I don't know, other non-profit institutions that can provide some type of support, either it is networking or event support to the European organization. So it is quite open. It really depends on what is the objective of the project and what is the company going to be focused on. Of course, you can see maybe further information on the implementing guidelines, and you can have there more details, of course. So regarding this, we have also here a question regarding the subcontractor. If the subcontractor has to be known at the moment of the application, or if it is possible to find this subcontractor during the implementation of the project. So the subcontractor should be known at the moment of the application, because when the European SME is applying to the VAP call, it should already state who is the subcontractor and what is the role of the subcontractor in the project. So this should be done at the time of the application already. In terms of the distribution among countries, in terms of the budget, yes, so we have the first call until the end of May, which has a total amount of 3 million euros. This is, we aim to fund 50 VAP projects, and the distribution, it is not supposed to be equally between the three categories of the geographical market. I think it will all depend on the number of applications that we receive per market and the quality of the application. So at least in this first stage, we will have an open focus on the quality more than rather than the specific location of each market. In terms of fields, yes, it is very, very wide open, and it does not have any specific sector focus. So it is more, the focus is on supporting a viability project for internationalization. So that is basically the main aspects. The company can have funding from the another already have funding from another European project. I believe that the answer is yes to this. Of course, we will only have one. We can only fund one company in the entire VAP process. So we have two calls open, as you know, and the company can only have funding from one of the companies, from one of the VAP calls. So it is on the company can only apply to one of them. I am receiving several questions. I will try to reply to almost all of them. The length of the application, well, that is not that will only be defined when the call is launched. So there is, please note that the calls are submitted through the online platform, so it's not a document that you upload only. And there is a number of words that you can include in each field, and those will be defined through in the application and when this application is opened. So I believe that there are a lot of questions being received. What I would ask, because of some of them, I prefer to answer them with specific documentation. So I would kindly ask if all the people that have questions regarding additional questions, actually, regarding the project and the VAP application, if you can either send it to me directly through this email address that I am presenting on the slides, or if you can send an email through the info@innowwide.eu. I am both managing these both addresses, so I will be able to receive this information from both sides. Or if you want, you can also provide a question in the online help desk through the INNOWWIDE website. If it is possible to do that, I would appreciate, and we will reply to you in a matter of a few days with all the questions that you might have. It is good also to see that there is interest from the participants and also from the Brazilian community, which is very important, and we are very hopeful that there will be VAP projects with Brazil stakeholders and organizations. So this is of course very, very positive. So if I believe this is all for now. Again, I would ask if each participant could provide information and questions directly to us. We will, yes, I'm seeing here some questions. We can share this presentation. And so you can have further information to the presentation. We'll make sure that this is shared with the participants. And hopefully we can help you in obtaining funding through this VAP and in supporting you in developing international activities with either if you are from Brazil and you are supporting European companies, or the other way around if you are from Europe and aiming to go to any other international country that is perceived within the INNOWWIDE countries of eligibility. So thank you very much. I will follow up with all of you with the presentation, and I would appreciate if you can forward, in case you have additional questions, and some of them that were not answered here today, if you can forward them to me directly to my email address so that we can provide an answer to you and hopefully clarify everything that we can. So thank you very much for your attention, and hopefully we will hear from you soon. Thank you.